Known for his role in the Fast and Furious franchise, Paul Walker died in a way that would make his character proud. Or did he? Follow me down the rabbit hole to find out. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the rabbit hole. I'm your host, Danny, and today we are talking about Paul Walker. Did he fake his death? What happened when he died? If he died? Let's get into it. First things first, thank you for the suggestion, Preston. This episode is for you. So, Paul William Walker IV was born on September 12th, 1973 in Glendale, California. He was born to Paul William III and Cheryl Walker. His mother was a fashion model, and his dad was a sewer contractor and former amateur boxer. His dad did some really cool things in the boxing world. Paul was raised a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Later in his life, he would change to just being like a non-denominational Christian, but he was raised in that church. He started a modeling career as a toddler in Pampers commercials, and he continued to appear in commercials throughout his childhood. Most notably, he was in the 1984 Showbiz Pizza commercial. Later that year, he appeared in the teen anthology series CBS School Break Special. He continued to work in TV until 1996. He worked in a variety of genres, mostly as supporting casts in different things. Walker began his film career in 1986 with low-budget B films. His first role was actually in a horror comedy film called Monster in the Closet. Then the next year, in 87, he starred in The Retaliator. He graduated from Village Christian School in 1991, and then he attended a few community colleges in Southern California before majoring in marine biology. In 1994, he returned to film starring in Tammy and the T-Rex, but he wouldn't secure his first feature film until 98 with Meet the Deedles. So this film ultimately was unsuccessful, but it did open the door for Walker to get more supporting roles in films, to include Pleasantville in 1998, Varsity Blues in 99, She's All That, also in 99, and The Skulls in 2000. I know I kind of jumped around here, but in 1998, Walker and his on-again, off-again girlfriend, Rebecca Soteros, welcomed their daughter, Meadow Rain Walker. She was born November 4th, 1998, and Vin Diesel was named the godfather of Meadow. Walker got his big break in 2001 with the starring role opposite of Vin Diesel in The Fast and the Furious. And as we all know, this movie was a huge success, led to a huge media franchise. Everybody loved The Fast and the Furious, and they've made a bunch of films. I think 10 of these movies. But of course, I'm jumping ahead. Walker wasn't in every single one of the Fast and Furious movies, but for that first movie, the first Fast and Furious, he got an MTV Movie Award for Best On-Screen Team that he shared with Vin Diesel. And then later that same year, he also starred in Joyride, which was a thriller that was also car-themed. He liked cars. In 2003, he would come back to make the sequel Too Fast, Too Furious. And after that movie, he starred in a couple low-budget or unsuccessful movies. Among these was Timeline and Into the Blue, which I liked Into the Blue, but maybe I like bad movies. I don't know. In 2006, he starred in Clint Eastwood's film Flags of Our Fathers and in Eight Below. Eight Below was a huge hit. It's critically acclaimed. It opened first place in the box office, grossing over $20 million during the opening weekend. It was huge. Later that year, he also joined the board of directors at the Bill Fish Foundation in order to use his degree in marine biology. He had a huge interest in marine biology. That's why he got a degree in it. So he wanted to do something with his degree, not just make movies. In 2008, he starred in an independent film, The Lazarus Project, and he did go back to his role as Brian O'Connor in 2009, although he was pretty reluctant at first. But Fast and Furious came out, the highest grossing film in the franchise up until that point. So it was a good thing that he went back. Because in between there, they did Tokyo Drift. Brian O'Connor wasn't in Tokyo Drift, so he didn't need to be in that movie. In 2010, he founded the Reach Out Worldwide Foundation in response to the 2010 Haiti earthquake. He starred in Fast 5 in 2011 and Fast and Furious 6 in 2013. He was nominated for a Choice Movie Actor Action and Choice Movie Chemistry with Vin Diesel and Dwayne Johnson for Fast 5, and won his second MTV Movie Award for Best On-Screen Duo with Vin Diesel for Fast and Furious 6. Between his Fast and Furious movies, he starred in Takers, and he also returned to modeling. So he was just kind of doing all kinds of things. In 2012, he founded the film production company Laguna Ridge Pictures, and this company signed a first look deal with Universal Pictures. Universal Pictures is what holds the Fast and Furious franchise. So it makes a lot of sense for him to sign with them. He knows they're going to make a lot of money. I mean, regardless of the Fast and Furious franchise, you know that Universal Pictures is going to make a decent amount of money. So having that first look deal is huge. Basically, a first look deal is a contract that grants the opportunity to own, purchase, lease, license, invest, or act before anyone else can act in a deal. So I don't know how he managed that, but that's amazing. That's a great career move. But Paul Walker is also a huge car guy. He starred in car films, and he also had a bunch of cars. He competed in the Red Line Time Attack racing series. He owned Always Evolving, which was like this high-end performance shop, and he also had a huge collection of cars. He had like I think just over 30 in total, about 30 in total. At Always Evolving, Roger Rodas, who is a pro racer, he acted as a CEO of that company. And they were partners in a lot of things. Rodas and Walker co-owned a portion of the car collection as well. So they weren't all just Walker's cars. Some of them he co-owned with Rodas. On November 20th of 2013, Walker and Rodas were at an event for Walker's charity, Outreach Worldwide, and Rodas was driving his red 2005 Porsche Carrera GT, which was one of Walker's dream cars. He loved that car. So the official story is that Rodas offered Walker a ride in the car, and they were just going to go for a quick ride around the corner. They were going to come right back to the event. But they never returned. I found an alternate story that said that the car was like stalling out a bit while Rodas was trying to park it, and he didn't really know why. So he decided to take it for a ride really quick just to see like what's going on, try to figure it out. And Paul was like, "Oh man, like let me just jump in and come with you." Right? He loves the car. This is a good friend. Absolutely, let's go. Again, officially, nothing was wrong with the car. They were going somewhere between 80 and 93 miles per hour when Rodas lost control of the car, crashed into this concrete lamppost, and then into two trees. The car caught fire within seconds of impact, so almost immediately. Rodas died on impact, while Walker is said to have lived for a few minutes before he ultimately died as well. He didn't live long, but he lived long enough to know that he was seriously hurt before he died, which is awful. Both bodies were burned beyond recognition, and they had to use dental records to actually identify the people that were in the car. No drugs or alcohol were found in either of the men's systems, and there was officially no mechanical malfunctions, and there were, like, the road conditions weren't bad. It was a beautiful, like, mid-afternoon. It was like 3:30 in the afternoon on a weekend. The sun was shining. It did rain the night before, but it was not raining then. It was just a beautiful day. So you can't point to it being dark out because it wasn't dark. It was the middle of the afternoon. However, the stretch of road that they were on is known for drifting, like for race car, like street cars coming down and drifting. They were not said to be drifting or not assumed to have been drifting. They were going at higher rates of speed. The speed limit was 45 miles an hour. They were going 80 to 93, somewhere in that range. I don't know. I've gone pretty fast in a 45 before. And these guys, like, they know cars. They know cars. So it's really weird that Rodas, who is a pro racer, would crash his car randomly unless it was staged.
Did you know that over 40% of Americans have a hard time swallowing pills? So when it's time to take your vitamins, large capsules and pills are out of the question. We know that gummy vitamins exist, but they're full of sugar, they get stuck in your teeth, and they only contain a fraction of the nutrients you need. Luckily, Easy Melts has discovered the ultimate vitamin sweet spot. Vitamins that melt in your mouth, taste like a treat, and are packed with nutrients ready for absorption, all without an ounce of sugar. For a limited time, Easy Melts is giving listeners a free 3-month supply of vitamin D3 with their first purchase. To claim your free D3 vitamins, visit try.easymelts.com/spring24. That's melts.com/spring24. Say goodbye to the old way of taking your vitamins and say hello to the easy way. Menopausal and perimenopausal women, listen up. It's time to take control of your health and comfort, and Winona is here to help. Winona is a telemedicine company for menopause care who believes that your symptoms are real, important, and deserve to be taken seriously. And for many women, this starts with hormone replacement therapy. Winona's HRT is made with plant-based, bioidentical hormones rather than synthetic ones, so it better aligns with your body to offer relief from hot flashes, weight gain, and other uncomfortable symptoms. 80% of women who use Winona find relief within just 90 days. So, what are you waiting for? Get started today. Visit buywinona.com today to start your free visit. With free shipping and the ability to pause or cancel at any time, your path to wellness has zero obligations. Use code SPRING24 at buywinona.com for 25% off your first treatment plan. That's BYWINONA.com for 25% off. Winona. Menopause care made easy.
They may have faked their deaths. Maybe. There is some evidence to suggest they have faked their deaths. So in the pictures from the scene, there are 2 different license plates shown in these pictures, right? One of them is the known license plate of the car. So 7 Charlie Charlie Yankee 590. In another picture, the license plate has changed, and it's not even like a close change. It's not like 7 blah 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 591. It's completely different. In fact, it is 3 Uniform Romeo Sierra 937. So it is not even a little close. That's weird that there's 2 different license plates on this car. Several websites were posting about Walker's death before he died, as if it was leaked to the press that Paul Walker was dead before he had died, and not even like an hour before, like the day before he died. Everyone was like, oh, Paul Walker is dead, and everybody's Googling, oh my gosh, is Paul Walker dead? And the next day he was dead, supposedly. This is much like Michael Jackson's case, as we talked about last week, because it was posted by sources that aren't very reputable. So people point to that and say, well, they couldn't have known. They were just like throwing out clickbait articles. But it's just quite the coincidence that the day before he died, they ran the story, as if they messed up and ran the story thinking that it was going to release later or something. I don't know. But it's kind of weird that the day, I mean, in Michael Jackson's case, it was 6 months prior. And it was like, oh, Michael Jackson's got 6 months to live. And then he did only have 6 months to live, allegedly. But in this case, it's like, That's weird. Maybe they accidentally released that too early. But just like those before him, he has been spotted since his death. All over the place. People see Paul Walker. The one thing I couldn't find was why he would fake his death. Like with the other fake deaths, it's pretty obvious as to why they would need to disappear out of the public eye. But Walker wasn't as famous as Elvis or as Michael Jackson. He wasn't a gangster rapper like Tupac. So it's unclear to me why Paul Walker would want to fake his death, but there is some evidence to suggest that he did. But while I was researching this and getting all the facts for his fake death, I also found some other intriguing thoughts I thought I would share with you, so that way you guys can make your own informed decision. Did he fake his death, or was he murdered? Because that's also a possibility. We all know Hollywood is super corrupt, full of pedophiles, not the best place in the world for people to be, children or adults, anybody. And if you're on the in Hollywood, you're probably a pretty sketchy character. We know that. What if Paul Walker was not a sketchy character and he was going to expose the wrong person? Because you can look at the movies that he's done, the films that he's done. He was in a huge franchise movie, which worked out for him. I bet when they made the first Fast and Furious, they weren't anticipating it to be the franchise that it became. And they just picked this guy off the street. You look good, be this guy. And then they have to keep casting him because he made such an impact, him and Vin Diesel, right? Well, he didn't get big roles after that. He wasn't just an all-around huge guy. Vin Diesel has been in other big roles, not just the Fast and Furious. Paul Walker, 8 Below, right? He was in a couple movies. Into the Blue, he was in that, but not a great movie. She's All That. He was in a few things. He did some modeling here and there. He wasn't huge. Well, is it because he wouldn't sacrifice himself for what Hollywood wanted him to do? Hollywood wants you to drink children's blood and to become part of the Illuminati, to do all these shady things, to go to these parties. But Paul Walker refused to be like that. So that's why he didn't get any big roles. But what if he took it an extra step and was like, I'm going to expose, this is wrong. We should not be doing these things. I'm going to expose you. So I have seen different things about him potentially exposing the Clintons. I've also seen things about him potentially exposing the Illuminati for the weird things that they do in Hollywood. And really, they're one and the same. In both cases, it's likely that he may have been killed for wanting to expose them for doing shady things. The Clintons are super quick to kill anybody that they see as a threat. The Illuminati, similar situation. If they feel like you have the evidence and you could expose them, they're not going to let that happen. And one last theory is that it's also been speculated that Paul Walker was killed in a ritualistic murder. This does not have as much evidence behind it. It's only been mentioned kind of in passing amongst stars, so it's not widely out there. So I couldn't find out exactly what they mean by ritualistic murder, but that could be a reference to the Illuminati as well. So it could be going back to he was murdered by the Illuminati, not only because he was going to expose them, but also they were doing some ritual that the Illuminati does. We all know that they worship the devil, and shit gets really weird when you start including the Illuminati, right? So there it is. That's what I found about Paul Walker. Did he fake his own death? Was he murdered? Who knows? It's up to you to decide. But of course, until next week, my friends, stay skeptical, and I will see you all then. Hey friends, The Rabbit Hole is an independent podcast with everything you hear done by me, Danny Mercy. I appreciate all of your support. Please rate and review wherever you're listening. If you want to follow us on Instagram, it's at rabbit.holepodcast. And thank you, Zakar Valaha, for our awesome intro.